Melissa sent me a recipe for how to make 3-ingredient fudge. Now, she watched our recipe video where we did 2-ingredient fudge. We use 1 jar of frosting and 1 jar of peanut butter. You melt it, you put it in a pan just like this, put it in the refrigerator, and you make it. So she said, I make some 3-ingredient fudge, and it uses a can of sweetened condensed milk, which this is a 14-ounce can. That's just your typical size. And then you can use 1 cup of one kind of baking chip and another cup of another kind of baking chip. And then you need 1 teaspoon of vanilla. So you have your sweetened condensed milk is 1 ingredient, your chips are 2 ingredients, your vanilla is 3 ingredients. So I took her at her word. I had these baking chips left over from earlier when we made things. So I got a cup of the semi-sweet chocolate chips, and I got another cup. I used the rest of these Yum Mellow pastel baking chips, and then in the bottom you'll see some of these brighter rainbow chips, just because I had a little less than half a cup. I had a little less than a cup of the pastel. So you want to take your cup, the cup of your chocolate chips, and your cup of your pastel chips. She said that you could mix it up. You can do peanut butter chips, you can do butterscotch, whatever. So I'm going to put these on the stove, and I'm going to melt them. And once they start to melt, I'm going to add my sweetened condensed milk and my vanilla. And then I'm going to put it in this lined pan. So you see I've taken like this is a clothespin, anything that you can use just to hold that paper down. And I tell you something else about the sweetened condensed milk I thought was interesting. Kevin got it at Meijer. He said that Meijer brand was 10 cents cheaper, but Meijer brand doesn't have a pull tab. Why wouldn't you? I mean, for 10 cents, it's worth it to both of us to get the pull tab rather than have to fight with the other cans to open them. So that was much easier. So when my chocolate melts a little bit, we'll be right back. Okay, so my chocolate is pretty much melted. You don't want to let this boil or anything like that. You just want to melt it over low heat. So I'm going to add my vanilla. That was a teaspoon of vanilla, and then I'm going to add my sweetened condensed milk. So I want to just stir this until it's all combined. And once again, you don't let it you don't want to let it boil or anything like that. You could do this in the microwave. Melissa, in her instructions, she said that she did it in a pan on the stove. And I thought, well, that sounds pretty easy too. But just know that, you know, if you wanted to do this in the microwave, you could. But you would have to stop and start your microwave just so that you could combine your ingredients together. So this looks good to me. I'm going to bring it over here and pour it into my pan. Melissa did not say, I don't remember if she sent me instructions on Instagram. I don't remember her saying how long she lets hers stay in the refrigerator, but I'm going to leave mine in the refrigerator overnight just because I have the time. I don't think you necessarily need to leave it in the refrigerator overnight. That's just what I'm doing. If I would say probably 3 or 4 hours in the refrigerator would be good enough. But this looks really nice. So I'm not going to cover it or anything. I'm going to put it in the refrigerator just like this, and we'll see how it turns out tomorrow. So this fudge has been in the refrigerator overnight. And this is why I like using parchment paper, because I don't even have to clean my pan. Even though it looks dirty, it's just old. Yeah, you don't have to clean it at all. So this is going to be loud. Okay, so I do have to say that it's very thin. It's thinner than what I am used to, but it looks good. So I'm gonna just cut all of this into pieces that we like to eat, the size that we like to have. And you know, different families might like to cut theirs in different sizes, but we typically put our fudge inside like a pretty tin. And so we like to have bite-sized pieces, or if you give it away, it's nice to have it in bite-sized pieces, I think.
It seems very sticky.
It's not really, it's not too terribly sticky, really. How many did I get? 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 36 pieces. I think that is really good. So, the first piece is always the ugliest, but that's what it looks like. And so Kevin and I are gonna get some of this, take it to the table, and give it a try. You know, when I was cutting the fudge, Kevin made mention it looks sticky. Well, I didn't, when I was cutting it, I really didn't notice that it was too awfully sticky. But then when I tried to start pulling it off of that parchment paper, it was incredibly sticky.
Like glued to the bottom.
Yes, so much so that it ripped the paper. And so I might not have to wash my pan, but I told Kevin I'm gonna have to wash this cutting board because I've ripped the paper, and but I can't imagine not using the parchment paper because then it's going to be stuck in your pan.
Could you use parchment paper and maybe spray a little cooking spray on the very bottom, maybe?
If you were to use this recipe, yes, I guess you could do that.
That's what you could do.
Yeah.
To keep it from sticking to the bottom.
So we're going to try it.
It feels pretty firm though once you got it loose. You know what I mean?
It's not though.
Yeah, it's pretty stretchy. I like that.
I know. I don't blame Melissa at all. So, because she had told me that you could use any chips you wanted. You saw the chips that I used. Maybe the chips that I had in my cabinet that I chose were not a good combination to put together. I don't know. But I'm just honest with you. I like the recipe much better than I've done in the past. The 2 ingredient, use a tub of frosting and a container of peanut butter. In the description of that video, I tell you the ounces. I think it's like 16 ounces of peanut butter and it's like 16 ounces of frosting or whatever. Because the reason I'm saying that is because I'm asked over and over and over and over and over again in the comments, and it's right in the description. Some people just don't know to look in the description. The description is right under the video, and it kind of tells you what it's about.
If it's on your computer.
And yes.
On your phone, you have to hit an extra button.
You have to hit an extra button to see more writing underneath. And sometimes on your computer, you have to hit something to see what's underneath. But it's always there under each video because whoever's making the video has to type all that in. This one, for me personally, I would pass on this and I would stick with my 2 ingredient because it's so delicious. And then also on my channel, I have Kevin making fudge, and it's a very old video. The kitchen looked different and everything. I believe it was our old kitchen. But that is making fudge like the old-fashioned way.
Cooking.
Cooking the fudge and with a bunch of ingredients and stuff like that. So we do have both ways on the channel. But I appreciate Melissa sending me this. I do know that a lot of people make it this way because I had been asked in comments before, what about using sweetened condensed milk? It's just too mushy for me. Even though I let it sit overnight, this
texture,
just to pick it up, it is tacky. It's very tacky.
The texture is much stickier and squishier. The fudge we make, even the 2 ingredient fudge, it's very firm. It's pretty thick. It's almost like a thick marshmallow, we almost feel, and it's super sweet, which this is not even all that sweet, honestly. I don't think so.
I don't either, and that's why I'm wondering, as far as the flavor goes, if it's not the ones that I...
If you used all chocolate, it might have, but I mean, even chocolate chips by themselves aren't really all that sweet, honestly.
Right, but I use those Gem Mellow baking chips, which I love.
Yeah, no, I think those are adding a little bit of vanilla flavor to them, so I don't think that's bad. I think the texture is just different, and the flavors are just not as sweet as the other fudge. So,
right.
Yeah.
So if you haven't tried,
I like the other one better.
Yeah, if you haven't watched that video of it's 2-ingredient fudge on my channel, please go watch it because it is so simple. I did in that video heat the containers up in the microwave. You don't have to do that. You can just empty the containers into a bowl and then heat that bowl up. You don't have to heat your containers up if you're not comfortable doing that. Yeah. So just know that, because a lot of people don't like to heat the plastic. They don't like to heat the plastic up. That's fine. Just empty it out. You don't have to follow my instructions step by step. Just empty the peanut butter out into a bowl and heat that bowl, the glass bowl up. So that's fine too. So I hope you enjoyed the video. Melissa, thank you for the fudge recipe, because other people had asked me about making fudge with sweetened with 3 ingredients this way. So I appreciate you sending it to me, and thanks for watching.